Itai. We are program managers in the Microsoft Excel team, focusing on different aspects of the product. We're talking to you from Israel, where one of the main development centers of Excel and Microsoft is located. In Excel Israel, we're focusing mainly on the web version of Excel and the data import and transformation in Excel. And during the session today, you'll hear about both and more. So let's get started. First, I would like to talk briefly about the challenges of the modern workplace, and then you'll see how the features and capabilities that we'll present during the session will help you to overcome those challenges. The first challenge is dealing with the explosion of data. I think that you all know that Excel today is more critical than ever because the world of data is just evolving so fast. Did you know that about 90% of the world's data was created in the last 2 years? This is insane. Modern applications and services are collecting huge amount of information every day, such as usage data, logs, health, and more. And later we need to navigate through that data, analyze it, and it should be fast, of course. Did anyone turn on the mic? I'm hearing noise.
I'm going to do that now. I'm going to make sure that everything is silent. So carry on, sir. Sorry for that.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. These are the challenges we are dealing with. That's fine. And so, as I said, we should analyze the data. We have a huge amount of data, and we should do it very, very fast. Now, this is the second challenge that I want to talk about. Despite the enormous amount of data, our boss wants the report to be ready today because tomorrow she has an important meeting with a customer or presentation to the management, and you know the drill. Okay, so we know that the data is expanding rapidly and the need for data analysis isn't going to stop soon. But what about us? I mean, our brain, our skill, do they evolve in the same exponential rate? Well, of course not. And this is exactly the place where Excel comes to help you to fill that gap by introducing the smartest and fastest tools that will get you meaningful insights out of your data, and you'll be right to see some of these tools. So this is how we overcome the challenges of the modern workplace. And I think that in other words, I can say that we make the world of data analysis easily accessible to the masses. Okay, Excel for the web, promised, right? So for using Excel online, and now I will ask the Beatles to forgive me, all you need is a browser. Simple as that, only a browser. It doesn't matter where you are. You can work from the office or from home, where all of us, I think, do these days, or in the train, where I used to work a lot. It doesn't matter where, which operation system you're using. It could be Windows, Mac, or even Android or iOS. It doesn't matter which browser you're using, Edge, Chrome, Firefox, Safari. All you need is a browser and, of course, an internet connection, yeah? With Excel for the web, you're always up to date. How many times did you send the file to your friend, but he or she couldn't open it because you are working with the most updated version of Office 365, but he or she is still stuck with Office 2003, okay? It happens. Well, with Excel Online, it just can't happen because everyone are working on the latest and greatest version, which gets updated twice a week with all the new features and bug fixes. So you'll get everything, all the new improvements when they come, right when they come out of the oven. We're working around the clock to provide you the same familiar interface of Excel in the web. So you won't need to learn any new application. But if for some reason you still want to take your file and work in the client desktop version, don't worry. This is not a problem because within one click in the web app, you can open your file in Excel desktop and vice versa. Okay. Demo time. To demonstrate you how powerful Excel for the web is, we're going to show you some of the new features today in the web app and some in the desktop app. Okay, we hope, of course, that you'll find those useful and insightful. The first feature we'll see today is ideas. By the way, I'm now sharing my screen in Excel for the web. I don't know if you notice any difference. It looks the same, it feels the same, except of the browser window. Not easy to distinguish between the two, as I said before. So ideas, in a nutshell, ideas is a smart machine learning service that gives you a sense of your data. And this is actually the first step of your data analysis. Let's see. Here I have a large data set of mobile phones, fictive of course. Now, when I get such a big table, and I'm sure that your data is much larger, okay, it is not easy to understand what is going on. What are the patterns here? What are the outliers? We know that our eyes, our human eyes, are getting along much better with visualizations rather than lists and numbers, right? So we'd like to present charts, but creating those charts is not an easy task as well. We need to look at the data, find some interesting trends, then go to the insert tab, pick the right chart type, then pick the columns that we'd like to plot. And it can take time. Of course, depends on the size of data. And this is exactly the place where ideas comes to help, because within one click on ideas button, okay, let's do it live. Here in the home tab, I have the ideas button at the right side. One click on ideas button, Excel now takes the data, goes to the powerful Azure cloud, and looks for interesting trends out of my data and suggest me like tens of insights in a form of chart or pivot table. Here I can learn that in 2017, this is the year that accounts for the majority of sales. I can click for more and get frequency of sales, so on and so forth. Many insights here about my data. It could take hours for me to find all these. Let's pick one. For example, accessory had noticeably higher sales. I'm clicking on insert pivot chart. And now this is on my grid, just like I was the one that created it. Okay. This is the regular chart with a regular pivot table. And why I told you before that this is the first step of my data analysis, because now I can pick the pivot table, for example, go to pivot table, field list, and I can change it, like adding the year to columns. So I get another nice insight per year. I will go now to the chart and modify it a bit, add a legend, and I can change, of course, colors and so on and so forth. This is the first step of my analysis. I can now continue into a more complicated one and use it as a skeleton, of course. So this is super easy. I think that this was kind of a magic, right? Well, we're not ending, because now I have another cool thing to show you. Let's say that we're looking for a particular insight that doesn't appear in the suggested list here. Well, what would be more easier than just asking Excel in a human, natural language? What do you search for? So here we have that search box. I'll click on it, and then I already get a few suggestions, but I want to search for something else. Okay, let's ask in a simple language for the total sales of bikes per here. And here I get the answer. It's a chart. A magic, right? Let's try something else. What is the best-selling product by category? By category. And now I get, for each category, the best-selling product. Amazing, within a second. Okay, and so answers me right away using its machine learning capabilities. Also, don't worry about phrasing your question. You can communicate with ideas almost in the same way you communicate with a human being, and it will understand you in any way you'd like to ask. Let's try an example, like what are the sales for each category over the years? And here's the answer in a colorful chart. And now I will ask for the same insight, but in a different way. Sales by category by year. And here it is. The same answer, even if I ask in another way. Cool, right? Well, to sum up, you need only one click on ideas to get to know your data. I think that ideas can save you like, I don't know, 15 minutes if we're talking about simple workbook like that, or maybe hours of work in a more complicated workbook like you guys are dealing with. Well, that's it. I invite you to go and try it. And we will continue to the next demo. And the next demo we're going to talk about is Office scripts. Well, most of you are probably familiar with VBA, the scripting language that you can use in Excel desktop to create your own functions and macros. So in Excel for the web, we offer you the next generation of Office scripting, so of scripting language. And it's called Office JavaScript APIs. As it sounds, Office JavaScript APIs is a library that allows you to interact with the content of your Office document, create custom functions, create add-ins, and so on. And since it's using JavaScript, it runs cross-platform. So you can use modern developer tools like Visual Studio, and you can write code and debug it. Office JavaScript APIs has been available for a while, but today I would like to talk with you about Office scripts, which is a user-friendly feature that allows you to automate your day-to-day tasks in Excel on the web. You'll be able to record your Excel actions with the action recorder, which creates then a script, and then you can also add scripts with a code editor or edit it using JavaScript. Your scripts can then be shared across your organization. So your colleagues, for example, can also automate their workflows and use your scripts. Let's see how it works. I'll switch again to my browser. Okay. Well, to start using Office scripts in Excel for the web, I will click on Automate tab, record the actions here, and then I can see the side pane open for me. And you can see that red dot saying that it is recording, okay? And it is now listening to all the actions I'm doing on the grid and recording them. Okay, let's say that I have a store and I'm creating an inventory list. So I want to automate this process with the action recorder. Okay, so let's try to create our list. The Excel is listening, right? Item count. Let's say I have 10 pens, 5 staplers, and I have also 20 markers, sorry. Please notice that everything I'm doing is recorded on the right side in the side pane. I can continue doing things on my grid. So let's convert that range into a table. Add a pie chart. Move it a bit, okay? And again, all the actions I'm doing are recorded here. Nice, okay, that's all. I have a small store. Stop recording. Now we'll give it a couple of seconds. And Excel is saving my script. Now it is saved. I can give it a meaningful name. Okay, let's rename it to create inventory or inventory list. A few. Okay, now it is saved and I can go to edit. Now you see my script, right? This is the part where I added values to the grid. This is the part where I added a new table. Here I inserted the chart, and here I moved it a bit. As you can see, Excel added intelligence comment to document my code and telling what was done in each of the parts. Nice, right? Now I can run the script, but before that, I will remove everything I've done just to get a clean sheet. Run. And the script is running. Within 2 seconds, everything is again on my grid. It can save me time in the next opportunity I would like to create an inventory list. Well, nice, right? What else? If I'll click on the back button again, here in the, again, I will click on the back button. And here I have lists of my script. It can be shared across my colleagues, and they also can benefit from that work. So I demonstrated the Office script solution for you, including the action recorder and the code editor using JavaScript. And I invite you to go and try it yourself. Well, now I'm going to hand over the mic to my partner Dror, who will tell you about additional cool stuff in Excel. Meanwhile, we have about a minute for a few questions. In any case, we're going to stay here for Q&A at the end of the session, or by mail, of course. So if anyone has questions, please raise your hand. Or just speak.
Hi, I have a question.
Sure.
You just showed us how to run that automatically, right? How can you use that same code to run it on a new data set?
Well, the action recorder is recording actions. So if initially I had, let's say, a table of a few rows and a few columns, I could do the same actions for different data sets. Okay.
So for that you will have to add the. So for that you have to add the new data set and then run it again on the same sheet.
Yes, in case the scripts you're recording is starting from a point that already has data set.
On the same sheet, or you can have it like anywhere on the new sheet?
Well, if you're running it, it should be the same sheet. If I understand your question, I mean you're running the script on that sheet. Do you have an example, Or you want us to take it offline if you have a specific one?
Oh, just a general question, really. My thing is that, if you have a new data set and if you already set a new set of scripts you already have, and you have new data coming in now and then, how can you use that new data to run the same script?
So if, for example, the first step of your script is coloring all the data in red font, it will be the same first step for any data set that you're applying on the script.
Is it available throughout the sheet, throughout the Excel sheet? I mean, on the workbook is available, or is it just on the same sheet where you've created the set script? I mean.
So are you asking if I can apply actions for other worksheets, other sheets on the same workbook? Guy, would you be able to answer that?
Yeah, sure. So it depends on your script, actually. If in the JavaScript you refer to an active sheet, then obviously the actions that you're performing will run on the currently open sheet, right? But you can adjust your script in such a way that it will refer to any sheet in your workbook. It depends on how you're creating your actual script. Make sense?
Yes. So can you give an example how you can do that for the whole workbook rather than just a sheet?
Yeah, well, right now I think we just don't have the time to provide a detailed example. But I believe best if you'll drop an email to one of us, and we can send you some reference to how to address another sheet or even another workbook through Office JavaScript APIs.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Itai and Guy. Hello, everyone. My name is Dror, and I'm a product manager at the Excel team. And I'm super excited to be here with you today. Let's talk XLOOKUP and dynamic arrays. You are probably familiar with the VLOOKUP function, one of the most popular functions in Excel used to find things in a table and range by row. You can do great things with VLOOKUP, yet it's a certain limitation that require additional knowledge, which can be tricky to overcome. For example, VLOOKUP use approximate match by default, while most users look at the exact match. Another issue, VLOOKUP doesn't support deletion or insertion of column. You specify an index of a return column, and you need to change it if you delete or insert a column in your data. Over the year, we listened to your feedback and came stronger with the next generation of the VLOOKUP. We call it XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP is more powerful and easy to use, and you can look for values both horizontally and vertically. Let's see XLOOKUP in action. For the demo, I hope that you see my screen. For the demo, I will use the Mac version of Excel, so you can get another glimpse of how powerful Excel is, working on all platforms, Win32, Mac, web, and mobile, and everything seamlessly. So let's start with the first example, assuming that this is my trader table, and assuming that I want to get a sales amounts of that invoice, I will use the lookup function, the XLOOKUP function. The XLOOKUP function can get 3 basic params. One of them is the lookup value. In that case, the invoice number, the lookup array, where to look it on that, and this is the invoice column. And the sales amount, the return value that I want to return, which is the sales amount column. And I'm done. You can see that I've got the sales amount of that invoice. If I will change now to different invoice, I will get a different result, the relative result of the sale amount. As you can see, the experience is smooth and easy thanks to the XLOOKUP. All parameters were explicit, no indexes. The search result is the exact result. not an approximate match like we have in the VLOOKUP. Let's see another example. Here, I want to find the sales record with the lowest sales value, or algorithm-wise, I want to find first sale record with the amount greater than 0. I will use again the XLOOKUP. Lookup value, I want the sales greater than 0. Lookup array, the sales amount column, and the return array, the trader table, the all table. Now, XLOOKUP have two more optional parameters. One of them is the is not found. For what happened if a particular value wasn't found, then I will skip that. And the second is the match mode, allow you to set the type of match you would like to perform, exact match or approximate match. And in that case, I want to use the exact match or the next larger item, because I want the sales amount of the sales greater than 0. And I'm done. You can see the relative record that I've got. You can see again the powerful of the XLOOKUP. It offers several important advantages, especially compared to the VLOOKUP, but also to edge lookup and lookup function. XLOOKUP default to exact match, but also support an approximate match. It can return multiple results, entire results, or of rows or column, not just one value. It can look up data to the right or left lookup value and can work with vertical and horizontal data. And last but not least, XLOOKUP can perform a reverse search last to first. You can see around the return record that there is a blue light line. And also you can see that when I'm on the first cell, I can see the formula on the formula bar. I can see the formula active, while on the next cells, this formula is disabled. That means that the result of these cells, the second, the third, and so on, come from the formula which is written at the first cell. And this is actually dynamic arrays in action. Both the blue light border and the actual formula vs the disabled one are hinged to the dynamic arrays. Until now, you wrote a formula per each value you want to return, one formula, one value. If you want another value, you wrote another formula. With the dynamic arrays, you can write a formula and get arrays of value in return. One formula may return many values, as it happened here, full table row. Let's talk more about the dynamic arrays capabilities and the new function that comes with that leverage the power of the dynamic arrays. Functions such filter, render, sequence, sort. Yeah, can you please put a mute? So function such filter, render array, sequence, sort by, xmatch, and unique. I will present two of them, but I encourage you to go office.com and search for other functions. First function I want to talk about is the unique function. Let's say I want to find the unique list of products from my table. I will use the unique function. Oops. And the product name column to get the unique of that list. And I've got unique list of product names. As you can see, this is also the dynamic arrays. You have the light blue line around the return result, and also you have the enable, disable filter. Second function I want to talk about is the sort function, which allows me to sort tables. Let's see, I want to sort traded tables by the sell amount column. So I will use the sort function. In that case, I want to sort the all table. And I want to sort it by that column, sales amount, which represent by index 5. And I have my table sorted. So that's it. I just show you how powerful XLOOKUP and dynamic arrays are. Look how easy it was to build a workbook with 3 functions. It's faster to build it. You don't have to worry about updating the formula, and there's less chance for error. So hope that you really love it. And that's all from my side. Any questions? So Guy, your turn.
Yeah, sure. Just give me a couple of seconds until I'm sharing my desktop. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask or just drop a question in the chat window. That just give an opportunity to the people on the call to ask some questions. Shall we move on? Can you see my desktop, by the way? I apologize.
Yes, we can.
Awesome, great. So, hi, my name is Guy, and as Michael introduced me at the beginning of the session, I'm a principal program manager in the Excel team. I'll be talking with you about pivot tables from Power BI and rich data types features. So without further ado, let's switch to Excel and show you some cool stuff. So speaking about the first demo, which is pivot tables from Power BI, some of you, or maybe even all of you, should be already familiar with Power BI, right? Power BI is becoming an important service for data analysts. More and more people are using it, and customers, like analysts and the different organizations, actually often go back and forth between Excel and Power BI to perform different tasks and analysis. Today I will show you how you can quickly connect and analyze data from Power BI using familiar tools in Excel like pivot tables. So to start using this feature, you should just go to the Install tab in Excel and open the pivot table dropdown. You will notice that there is a new option here, which is called From Power BI Microsoft. Let me click on it. A side pane is being opened for me. And what's happening here behind the scenes is that Excel is sending a query to Power BI and says, hey, I'm Excel on behalf of the currently logged in user, which is me, which is Guy Hunkin. Please scan all the workspaces and all the data sets that Guy Hunkin can access and display them here in this side pane. So I can see all the relevant data sets which I can access in Power BI here in the side pane, together with some additional information for the data sets, like the name of the data sets and the owner of these data sets and when the data set was refreshed and so on and so forth. I can quickly search for data sets which I want to connect to and start analyzing the data from. So in my case, I will just search for a Northwind workspace. And here we go. I can quickly browse through the data sets in the Northwind workspace, or those data sets which contain the name, the term Northwind in their name. But before I continue, let me quickly switch to Power BI and show you how this workspace looks in Power BI. So I have already, I have this page opened already in Power BI. This is the Northwind Traders workspace, and these are all the data sets in this workspace. And there are a couple of interesting details here. So in addition to the list of all the data sets here on the left, there are a couple of additional columns which I'd like you to pay attention at. The first column is endorsement, right? And you can see that an endorsement value can be certified or promoted. So this is the way for an authorized folks in my organization, usually IT people, to mark certain data sets as important or as approved and ready for analysis. So in this specific case, an IT person in Microsoft said that, hey, the accounting data is actually a certified data set. It contains a correct data and you can trust this data and use it in your analysis and so on. Same goes for account and sales. This data set is promoted. It probably is also a correct one and contains the right data, the precise data that I can use. In addition to that, pay attention to the sensitivity column. In the sensitivity column, I can see how this particular data set is marked. In this case, account and sales is marked as confidential, Microsoft FT. What you see here is an implementation of Microsoft Information Protection feature, which enables you to guard the information in your organization. So through Microsoft Information Protection, I have an ability to mark certain data as sensitive or as highly confidential or as public information to prevent accidental data loss. So once someone, again, it will be usually an IT person in my organization. Once this IT guy goes and marks the account and sales data as confidential for Microsoft FTEs only, this data won't leave my organization. If I will accidentally try to send it to someone outside of my organization, I won't be able to do so. And you will see quickly how this sensitivity information comes into Excel and is reflected in Excel when I use the pivot tables from Power BI feature that I've just started showing you before. So let me go back to Excel, and now I will go and I will choose the account and sales data, which I would like to analyze. When I click on it, a new tab is being created for me, and Excel is creating a pivot table which connects directly to Power BI, to the particular data set in Power BI that I have chosen from this list. Give it a second, because the bits are moving slow today. Great, and now I have a pivot table here. A couple of things happened. Let me just take a look quickly at what's going on here. Yeah, a couple of things happened here. So first of all, please notice that if I go to Home tab and then I open the sensitivity dropdown, just a second, you will see that the entire workbook is marked now as confidential for Microsoft FTEs only. So what happened here is that the sensitivity labeling for the data set in Power BI went all the way through from Power BI into Excel, and now Excel inherits the sensitivity labeling for the particular data set from Power BI. This way, I can continue analyzing the data in Excel and be confident that whatever I do in Excel, whatever data my workbook will contain, it will never leave the boundaries of my organization. So this is important to understand, that we inherit the sensitivity labeling from Power BI with this feature. Now let's use the pivot table to analyze this data as we usually do with pivot tables. So I can, let's say, add the order quantity to values well and say, hey, category name will go to rows and country will go to columns. And here we go. I've just quickly created a pivot table, and I can continue and do additional things on this pivot table. So for example, I can add some conditional formatting like this. Again, you should all be familiar with pivot tables and know how to use them. And so whatever I do, again, it's important to understand. So whatever I do with this pivot table, it connects directly to the data in Power BI and pulls the data from Power BI. So this is all about this feature. I just want to quickly summarize the advantages of using these features. So first of all, you're using pivot tables directly from Excel to analyze your data in Power BI. And most of the data analysts should be familiar with pivot tables, and it's one of the mostly frequently used features in Excel. So you will just continue using them as you usually do. A second advantage is that once you connect with this feature to Power BI dataset, you actually get all the access to the data in the datasets, including relationships and calculations in those datasets and so on. The third advantage is that this feature promotes the use of certified and promoted datasets, as you have seen. And so it reduces the errors, and you can always trust the data since you're using certified or promoted datasets from Power BI. Last but not least, with sensitivity labeling inheritance, you can always trust that whatever analysis you will do, it will never leave the boundaries of your organization. Right, so go ahead and try this feature. I'm sure you will find it useful. I have like a minute or so for questions before I jump to the next demo. So please let me know if you have any questions. Just a second, I'm looking at the questions in the chat window.
Hello, Guy.
Yeah. Hi there.
Yeah, my name is Benga. This is really super awesome. I mean, I never even thought about it that we could connect directly to Power BI from here. And the fact that it connects, it brings all the features, all the measures and the relationships. I think that's really very super awesome. This feature right here. And actually, I'm working on a project at the moment, and these are the kind of things I'm going to be working on. Now, sorry, I need to take you back a little bit to not just this feature, the other feature on scripts and all of that. Now, if I have, let's say I have a pivot table or some data in a table, and I'm looking at the threshold that, okay, for instance, I'm looking at an average. Once it passes an average, I want to send an email. I want someone to receive an email, or perhaps when the data is updated, I want to be able to send an email to either a person or a group of persons. Is this something I can do in Excel?
It is doable, but you will need to use an external tool for this. I suggest you look at Power Automate. It's also called
Flow.
Microsoft Flows, exactly. So you can define the flow that looks at a particular workbook, at a particular cell in a particular workbook, and if the value in this cell is this and that, then you can apply certain actions like send an email or do other stuff. So Power Automate and Flows is the solution for you.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, cool. Let's move on, and I will talk about rich data types. So let me move back to my workbook and switch to the Power BI Data Types tab. So a while ago, just a bit of a history, a while ago, Microsoft introduced a new feature, which is called data types or rich values. The main entry point for this feature is through the data types gallery on the data tab. In a nutshell, this feature is all about having rich values in a cell. So again, I'm just kind of giving you a very high level and brief history of this feature. So before this feature, every value in the Excel cell was easy text or a number, right? Even a date is a number. It's amount of the number of milliseconds since a particular time a while ago. With the rich values, with the data types feature in Excel, you can turn every cell into a rich value, a container which contains several values, several properties for you, and you can continue and explore these values through the notion of cards that I will show you shortly. So at the first stage, we introduced stock and geography, so you can type a country like Nigeria or Israel in your cell and turn it into a country and continue exploring it. But today I will talk about Power BI data types. And what Power BI data types is an ability to create rich values, data types in Excel, directly from data in Power BI. And this is actually following the feedback that we had from you, right, from our customers. Because since the introduction of stock and geography, customers told us that, hey, these data types, stock and geography, are great, but we want our data types created on top of our organizational data. And Power BI data types is the answer for this. So in my example, let's say that I'm running a food delivery company and I'm creating an invoice for the customers. So here in this particular cell, I have a customer. And as you can see, you have these small icons right here on the left, which I can click and see additional values that this value, this rich value contains. So this icon on the left means that, hey, whatever resides in this cell is not a regular text, it's not a number or whatever, it is a rich value, right? And I can continue and explore this rich value through the card that I have just shown you, right? So I can see additional properties and value for those properties. And this icon here on the left means that the data for this rich value comes directly from Power BI. Let me choose another customer and pay attention what happens to these cells. So once I choose another customer, I will choose this one. You've probably noticed that these three cells have changed for me as well. Let me do it one more time so you'll pay attention. And those cells have changed. And the reason for these cells being changing is that these cells are actually a formula. So in this example, please pay attention to this formula. It says, hey, just go to the object, to the data type in cell B9 and bring a contact name for me. And this is the contact for whom I'm sending the invoice, right? Same goes for the rest of the cells. So in this case, I'm just extracting the others property for this data type, and so on and so forth. Here in the description, I have the list of products which are being contained in this invoice. And let's say that I would like to turn them into rich values. So the way to do it, as I mentioned, is to go into the data types gallery, open it, and before I choose to turn them into a product, please pay attention on the different data types available. So I've previously mentioned stock and then geography, and now we have another data type, currency, which is available. It's public data. These are all public data types. And here, what I have is a set of data types which are available for my organization. Another section of various data types which are available are here. Those are Wolfram Alpha data types. They're available for consumers. I will not talk about them during this presentation, unfortunately, due to lack of time, but you can always go and search for the Wolfram Alpha data types on the web. So as I mentioned, in my particular example, I just want to turn these data types here on the grid, these product names on the grid, into actual data types. So I will click on products. Excel accesses the Power BI data. It searches for chai and kanbu and other products and turns them into the actual product. So You've probably noticed that once the separation has been completed, there is a small icon right here, which I can click and see the card for this particular product. And I can access the various properties from this product from my formula. So in my example, I just want to extract the unit price from this product. So I will just click on the data type dot, and here I can access the different properties. In my example, I will choose unit price. And Excel is smart enough to extract the unit price for all the products here. Let's change the product name. So let's say that I would like that one of my products is Boston crab meat. Excel searches for this product in Power BI and give it a second, and then it brings the actual product and extract the price. And I would like 3 of those. And we are done. Here is my invoice, and I'm ready to send it to the customer. So this is all about Power BI data types. Again, just to summarize it in one line, it's a set of rich data types in Excel which connect directly to Power BI and bring the relevant information from Power BI, which I can further use and continue working with in my workbooks and accesses through cards or through formulas. But what happens if I just want to create a data type from any data source, right? I don't want to go to Power BI and create some data types in Power BI because it's kind of complicated, right? I may not have the right set of permissions to create data types in Power BI and access them then in Excel. So for this purpose, we came with another type of data types, which is called Power Query data types. And with Power Query data types, you can create a data type, a rich value from any data source that is being supported in Excel. So in my example, I will start with importing data from a typical CSV file. This is something that you do on a daily basis, several times, I believe, a day. So Excel asks me to provide a CSV file that I can import. I will just go and I will select my data. This is it. If you ever imported data with Power Query, you will know that shortly Excel will present a data preview for me. Here we go. And as you can see, it's a huge table with a lot of columns, and it can be somewhat difficult for consumption. So let me try and simplify the view with Power Query data types. I will click on Transform Data. And now I will go into a Power Query editor tool. This is where all the data transformations are happening. I can see the data preview here. And you may notice that some of the columns, like this column and this and that and so on, these columns actually represent a customer. So this is a customer ID and the customer name and the birth date and so on, and city name, region, country, continent, and such. And I will just want to collapse all these columns into a single data type and a single rich value. I will do it through the Transform tab and the new command, create data type. Once I click on it, Excel asks me to provide a data type name. In my example, it's a customer. And I will also provide a display name. This is the name that will be displayed in a cell for this data type that I'm creating. So in my case, it will be a customer name. Once I'm done, I can click on OK. There's also an advanced mode, but I will just skip it. And you can see that all these columns were collapsed, and now I have just one column with a set of properties and values for each cell. Right, and you can see the properties and values here. And I can continue and create additional data types, like this data type stands for a product. Let me quickly create another data type, which will represent a product for you. Yeah, this is a product data type, and I just want to display a product name. Click on OK, and I'm done. Now I have created a second data type in my data. And again, it's a collection of properties and values. And then I can load the data into the grid. And continue interacting with this data through cards and formulas, as I have previously shown you. So here are my data types. I can click on this small sign here and continue exploring this data in a card, and same goes. And same goes for products. And I can continue and referencing these values in the formulas I have previously shown you. So instead of having like a huge table, here you have a simplified view of your data, and it uses the power of data types to collapse the columns for you and create data types for you on the grid. Any questions on this? We have like 1 minute before we summarize our session and such.
Hello, Guy.
Hi there.
Yeah, so please, I would like to see you demo this, the data type you just created in a formula. Let's see how it works in a formula.
So what do you mean? Do you want me to just access this cell from a formula? So I will just type an equal sign, and then I will say, yeah, I just want to take this data type, dot, and I can access all the properties of this data type. So in my example, let's select a city name. And I'm done. I've just extracted the city name for this from this particular data type, right? So if I just open the card, I can observe the different properties for this data type, and as you can see, the city name is Lincoln Acres, exactly as the one that I extracted, right?
Okay.
So this is the way to interact with data types. You just reference the data type as you reference any other Excel cell or such, right? Just an equal sign, and you are done.
So this is just lookup on steroids. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Let's move on. I just want to go through through several last slides in this presentation. Then we'll have like 5 minutes for questions and answers. So in terms of availability, this is actually exciting because these features are available for all of you in production. All you need is an active Office 365 license. Power Query data types feature is rolling out to production as we speak. I think it's not fully available in production yet. It's available just like for 50% of customers in production, but it will be opened to the entire production audience pretty soon. And the rest of the features are available for everyone on production. Specifically for pivot tables from Power BI and Power BI data types, you will need a Power BI Pro service plan to use these features. And I mean, it's obvious, right? Because you're accessing a Power BI data, and to be able to access a Power BI data, you need a specific service plan, which will enable you to do so. Moving to the next slide. This is actually a great summary of all the relevant links that will help you to follow about new announcements about features that we're releasing in Excel, get some help, training, and engage in conversations with other professionals like you. So the first two links are all about what's new features in Excel. I strongly encourage you to follow the announcements here, because every new feature that we're releasing are being mentioned. So every new feature is being mentioned at these links, right? We're also trying to publish new blogs about the features that we're releasing. If you want to learn more, go to Help and Training portal. And if you would like to get access, an earlier access to the features that we're releasing and try them before those features reach production, I strongly encourage you to become an Office Insiders. It's easy. You just go to AKMS/Office Insiders and you can join the Office Insiders program, and you will have an option to try the features before they become generally available, and provide us feedback and help us to make the product better. And last but not least, we are running an active and highly vibrant Excel community, and I encourage you to join this community and talk with other people, help other folks, and get some help for the questions that you may have. So there are a bunch of really useful links here. Yeah, you will have the presentations available later on, so you'll have access to these links. In addition, as you may know, we in the Excel product group are constantly seeking for research participants to provide feedback for different features and studies and so on. If you would like to provide feedback, if you have some time to share and help us make our product better, please leave us your details through this link, or just scan the QR code and submit your details. And whenever the right moment will come, we will contact you and we will make sure that your voice will be heard. And yeah, we have like 5 minutes for Q&A. I know that this presentation took a bit longer, but I believe that we have like 5 additional minutes for questions and answers. So go ahead.
Okay, thanks a lot, Guy. Thanks a lot, Itai. Thanks a lot, Dror. I just quickly want to read out, there are some 3 questions that are piled up. So I want to give priority to them so that it doesn't look like we're cheating those who type the questions in their chat box. So I'm going to read the question number 1. Apologies, there's a background party sound at my side. I think they're giving us background music. I'm close to a poolside party at the hotel. So Moses asked that apart from the fact that this is Excel Online, this is regarding the Itai. So he's asking that, okay, that though this is Excel Online, that is there going to be a difference between these and the record macro function in Excel in the desktop? Is there a difference between the Office scripts and the macro that we have in the desktop? So that goes to you, Itai. Should I read the other questions too, or do you want to answer that one first before I read the second? The second and the third actually goes to Guy.
Okay, so
Michael, maybe we can try and answer those questions one by one, and then first of all answer this question and then move to another one.
Okay, all right. So I think I'll let Itai answer then, or whoever wants to answer that one, about the difference between the Office scripts and the macro that we have already in Excel desktop.
yeah, Guy, would you like to answer about the VBA in Excel?
Yes, I definitely can answer about VBA. So, as you may know, Office JavaScript is a relatively new scripting language. VBA, like speaking about VBA, it has been there for ages, right? And it's a mature scripting language, and you can do a lot with VBA. Office JavaScript is getting there, and we're actively working on improving Office JavaScript APIs and allow you to do more and more things through Office JavaScript APIs. I think that Office JavaScript is not there yet. Overall, right? There are features and areas where Office JavaScript APIs are already as powerful as VBA, but not in all areas. So one of the examples is the data import capability. So with VBA, for example, you can create new Power Query queries which import data from various data sources, while you still can't do it with Office JavaScript APIs. But we are working together, and looking forward several years from now, I believe that Office JavaScript APIs will be at least as powerful as VBA and even more powerful in a lot of areas. So does it answer your question?
Yes, I would say maybe yes. Or else if Moses can unmute and say something too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read the second question. So it comes from Oladapo. He's asking, so I think he addressed it to you, Guy. He says that, thanks. He was talking about when you were showing the, when you mentioned that sensitivity in, tagging already imported, like inherited from the Power BI data set. So he's saying that, does this mean that we can enable Excel data sharing in Power BI, but still enforce the data policy to ensure your data is protected? I don't know if maybe you get what you want. Or Mr. Dapo, you are here, you can unmute. Maybe you can ask the question better than maybe the way I'm reading it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Hi, Guy. Thank you for your presentation. Yep. I know in Power BI, you can enable or disable Excel sharing where users cannot download Excel for your data set. So with this, with what you showed us, where you can, enable or flag data sensitivity. So my question is it also possible for us to allow users to be able to download Excel files and not being able to now, take it outside your organization, right? That's my question.
So yeah, if I understand it correctly, so I mean the answer is yes. This is the whole idea of the Microsoft Information Protection feature. So once I go to Power BI and I mark certain data as highly sensitive, as confidential for my organization only, it will never leave the boundaries of my organization. And this is the whole idea of this feature, of the inheritance of the sensitivity labeling from Power BI. So once I have once I created a pivot table which imports data from Power BI, it inherits the sensitivity data from Power BI as well, and the whole workbook is marked accordingly. So if I'm using a sensitivity labeling which is strict and says, you can't do this and that, you can't send the emails, you can't send this data over email, or you can't download it, or we can't do other things, the same thing will be applied to Excel workbooks that contain your data. Does it answer the question?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Sure. Other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Dako, can you maybe still ask that your last question? It looks like when you ask it yourself, it comes out much more encompassing than the way I read it. So your other question you asked about activating something.
Yes, my other question was about if I need to access the Power BI data types from within Excel, is there anything I need to set up in Power BI first? And is there anything I need to also, is there any connector in Excel that I need to also activate or check or something for me to be able to access?
Yeah. Yep. Great question. So if you want to create Power BI data types, first you need to author them in Power BI. For this, you will need to mark certain tables as featured tables. So in Power BI Desktop, when you're importing, like usually the workflow for you will be to import and author and clean your data with Power BI, and then publish it, with Power BI Desktop, and then publish it to Power BI, right? So in Power BI Desktop, you will notice that one of the table properties is called feature table. Once you mark a certain table as a feature table, this actually, and then you publish the data to Power BI, this is the sign to Power BI to expose this table to Excel through the data types gallery. So this will be your typical workflow. You open Power BI Desktop, you import and clean your data with Power BI Desktop, you mark a certain table as feature table, you then upload the data to Power BI, and it becomes available in Excel from the data types gallery. Hope it answers the question.
Yes, so which means once this is done and I open my Excel, I find it automatically enabled?
Exactly. Like
good.
Excel knows to access the Power BI onload. By the way, like if once you uploaded a feature table to Power BI, you will probably need to reopen your Excel, right? Because when Excel is being opened, it sends a query to Power BI and says like, hey, I'm Guy, please bring me all the feature tables which Guy can access. And then those feature tables are displayed as data types through the data types gallery.
Okay, so which means this is a good way of using Power BI as a single data source across board?
Exactly. This is the whole idea behind Power BI data types. You are leveraging the Power BI and all the advantages that Power BI offers you, like a single source of truth, right, and security and so on. And you are just connecting to Power BI and exposing the information from Power BI in Excel. But Power BI still remains the single source of truth. So once you go to Power BI and, for example, refresh the data over there, the data is being changed, you will then go to Excel. And the next time you refresh your Excel workbook, the data will be refreshed as well according to what you have in Power BI.
Okay, thank you. This very last question. Sorry to bother you. Now, I see updating Power BI. In the case of using Power BI as a single data source of truth, then I see updating Power BI as a challenge, right? And when I say as a challenge is when I'm connecting my Power BI to sources like an Excel file, right before I get it updated. But in situations where I get my Power BI connected to data sources like SQL or like other, online data sources, then I think that should be fine. Or what do you think?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question. So you're saying that updating Power BI is a challenge?
If I'm connecting to Excel, for example, connecting my Power BI to Excel to update, my product table, for example, right? Then which means every time I need to update my product table, I need to also update Excel before publishing it back to Power BI and before making it available, company-wide. So my question now is, I think connecting to SQL or more other robust databases would be fine, rather than using, connectors like Excel or text files to update, such Power BI data types. It's just a comment.
Well, frankly, it's up to you. Whatever works better for you. Sometimes you won't have access to SQL Server, right? Because IT just doesn't allow you to access the company SQL Server directly and such. And all you have is an Excel workbook. So in this case, obviously, you will be creating data types by importing the data from Excel workbook first. But if you have an access to SQL Server, then like, why not? Whatever works for you again. The whole idea is that tools like Power BI Desktop and Excel, they're flexible enough to support almost any flow, every choice. Both the SQL Server flow will be supported, or import from a local Excel workbook will be supported, or an Excel workbook on a SharePoint, whatever works for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Gerd. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Can we sneak in one last slightly unique question? Should I really? So Francis, interestingly, is a doctor, a lecturer. So he's saying, is there a plan in the future to replace VBA with Excel, with Python in Excel? I think I know the answer, but let me just read it out to you to answer. So his question is there a plan in the future to replace VBA with Python in Excel? But I would just like to say, maybe, is there any plan to even replace VBA? You know, in case if whatever answer you're giving, you can also answer that too.
Yeah, so there are no plans to deprecate VBA if this is what you're asking for. VBA will stay. Like, as you may know, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands solutions today that use VBA, and it will stay like that. No one is taking VBA away, and you can continue using it if you wish. But the problem with the VBA is that it's not cross-platform. And in the modern world, more and more customers are starting to use Excel from other platforms than Win32. So the way I see it, like this is the mental model that I have in my head. If the only thing that I'm creating is a solution for Windows, then the easiest way for me will probably be to use VBA, right? There are a lot of tutorials out there, and I can get a lot of help. But if I'm creating solutions which will eventually run across different platforms, in Excel for the web or on Mac, then Office JavaScript is the way to go. Because as we explained before, as Itai mentioned during his demo, Office JavaScript APIs is the next generation of Office scripting language. And the main advantage of Office JavaScript APIs is that it's a cross-platform solution. So you just write your code once and it runs the same, no matter what platform you use, whether you're viewing your workbook from a browser or Mac or whatever. Speaking about Python, well, a great question. You're welcome to drop me an email. By the way, not just me, right? As you can see here on this slide, we're all sharing our email addresses with you. You're more than welcome to contact us with any additional questions that you may have. But going back to Python, please drop me an email regarding a specific question about Python, and I will try to answer that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
I know that a lot of customers are asking to support Python as a scripting language in Excel. Well, drop me a question about it. This will be the easiest thing to do.
So Francis, I know you are still here and listening. So they're expecting an email from you. So, okay. So thank you very much. Any other questions? I don't know how many seconds or minutes you still have for us. So I guess if there are no more questions at this juncture, I would like to say very big thanks to Guy, to Itai, to Dror for making this possible. You know, they didn't even make it too difficult for us to be able to enjoy their presence. You know, they were very, as much as I was enthusiastic about this session, they were equally, you know, wanting to share with us. And so it's a very great pleasure. We appreciate this. And I know, because like I said, there are many communities that I'm just one of many of these Excel communities. I hope that when the others to try to ask me to create a connection with you, that it's possible that I do that. I hope you are okay with me linking you up with the other of our other communities in this our Excel space in Nigeria. Sometimes we have activities that they would like to get a plurality of speakers. So it's always nice to get someone directly from the Excel team And I just want to plead with you that I hope it's fair. It's okay if I tell them that yes, so we will try and see if someone from the Excel team can be part of different other sessions that we host as a whole community in Nigeria here. Okay, so once again, a very big thanks, and I can see that people are already dropping in their thanks. Please, let's drop in more of our appreciations to them. And I want to tell you that there's a huge fan base for Excel in Nigeria. Excel probably even powers a lot more than typically does in some other countries, because, you know, people are very creative with what they do with Excel. Something else that in a different country, other people will be trying to use the software for, we create solutions in Excel to do them. And so, you know, it's amazing the energy around Excel here in Nigeria. And I know that the more we get you to see more of our communities, you'll be amazed by how much people are using all these things you are sharing. And that's why I'm so happy that all what you've said are bordering on the, okay, is it because of the similar colors of Excel and the Nigeria flag? Maybe, maybe, you know, I never even tried to find the link, but I think that could be a possible reason. Yes, Excel is our color, you know, green and white. So thank you once again. And I want to say a great, I want to, on behalf of the entire community, say a big thank you, and we appreciate your presence, and we beg you that in future sessions, you'll also be willing to avail us your presence, you know, because we don't want to see this as the first and the last. So thank you once again. And I don't know if you want to say anything.
Like on my end, I just wanted, I think I'm speaking on behalf of Itai and Dror as well. Well, in general, we as product managers in the Excel team, we are always excited to speak in front of our customers and you know, and teach our customers about all the new and cool features that we are doing. It's the first time that we are speaking in front of your user group, and I mean, it's really exciting and it's really great, and it's you know, it's my honor to speak in front of you and answer all the questions that you're asking, all the great questions that you're asking. Thanks for that, and I hope we'll continue our collaboration in the future, because yeah, people just like Excel, and we like people who love Excel.
Yeah. So thank you once again, and at this juncture to call the meeting to a close. We've really taken a huge chunk of the day of our guests, and we are happy that we've all had a wonderful session. So thank you, everybody, and have a nice week ahead.
Thank you so much. And we will share the deck and the demo file with you, so you will be able to share it with your community. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.